Let's go. Let's get the ladies in here this time. All right. There we go. Let's see. See. Jesus, come on. See if she can hop in. Can you hop in? uh,
Oh Lord. Oh, hold on.
all right. We got to get this good. All right. So while the ladies are joining us, we are introducing the speakers for our Melanated Self Love Summit that is coming up soon, but there's still some time. And we're just introducing them to talk about a little bit about the topics that are going on at the event and about self-love, because we are really focused on women of color embracing who they are authentically and loving on themselves, even when they feel like everything's not the best. You know, we are pretty hard on ourselves as women and as women of color. And so I just wanted to bring some positive women together to help other women and to get together with other women and really embrace self-love. So that's what we're focused on. So we've been introducing, this is part 3. So this is the third time we've gone live to introduce the speakers. And if you haven't watched the other couple of videos, please go back and watch the other couple of videos before IGTV, because they were really powerful and we had really powerful messages in those videos about self-love and our journeys with self-love and how we've begun, in the middle, and continuing on into the future of our journey with self-love, because it is definitely an up and down road, and it's constant learning, constant evolution, and constant back and forth with ourselves. We want to live in the positive of what self-love means to us. Okay, let's get Chantel in here. Hey, Karen. Thank you for
Hey,
hopping
Camille, can
on.
you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
I was like, somebody has to hop on here with me. Come on. There we are.
Woo!
Because I'm like, what is going on?
Hey guys, how are you,
Hey,
ladies?
I
Hi.
do. How you?
That
Hi, Kamisha.
internet.
Hi, Karen.
Hey,
Hi.
Chantel.
Kamisha, there's feedback on your end, or is that on my end?
No. That might be Karen.
We shouldn't have any now. You hear it now?
No.
Okay, just stopped. No, it's a
Okay.
little there, but that's better.
Yeah. So, okay, let's go ahead and get started. So we are introducing some of the ladies from the Melanated Self Love Summit, and we'll focus on self-love being the best love. You have to love yourself first before you can do anything and love anybody else. You have to really hone in, do that inner work, and really be the leader of yourself and love yourself. So, what we just start with is we just talk a little bit about, self-love and what it means to us before we get into those hard hitting questions. So the first first, I'm going to introduce the speakers. Karen happened to hop on with us in part one of the series, but she's here, so we're still going to introduce both. We have, give me one second.
Karen.
So we have Chantel hopping on. So she is new in the series. So I'm going to introduce Chantel first, and then I'll come back and introduce Karen. Sorry, I had to get it up here. So Chantel is a life coach, and she is an ordained interfaith minister, and she's a certified life coach. And as a former performing artist, Chantel knows what it takes to live one's dreams. She helps women connect to their spirit, get clear on their vision, and bring it to reality. From vision to reality, abundance and wealth in all life areas, right? Love yourself completely to let the divine shine through and bless your family and your community. That is all from Chantel. So let's welcome Chantel, everybody.
Hey, everyone. Hey, hey.
Okay, so we have Karen as well. Karen is a small business strategist, and she helps women use their God-given gifts, which she calls their superpowers, right? To build a passion-based business that positively impacts the world. We're all about impact. So she helps them to move past their fear, confusion, frustration, and stress to start and grow a successful business using her powerful desire framework, allowing bosses to execute their strategic goals and action steps to realize their vision of success. So, welcome these ladies to the live, and we're going to just hop right into it. So, the first question I always ask is, why is self-love important to you? And we'll go ahead and begin with Chantel. Tell us why self-love is important to you.
Self-love is important because that is the answer to really living your life to its fullest potential. It's the key to you just living, right? If you don't love yourself, you can't tap into the divine within you, and you cannot express yourself. You cannot live really the plan that God has in store for you. And if you're not living that plan, then you're struggling. You're grinding. You're swimming upstream. You know how we've convinced actually we haven't convinced ourselves. Circumstances have shown us that life is about struggle, right? So if you don't love yourself, you can't be connected to divine. And if you're not connected to divine, you're struggling, you're grinding, you're working hard. And a lot of us are doing that, right? We're working, swimming upstream for everything. So it's not until you love yourself that you connect to the divine. Once you have that divine, that God power behind you, life begins to flow. And then you still have to work. You still have to go through the process. But at least in the end that you're going to make it. You're going to hit your goals. You're going to live your dreams, right? But without that divine being behind you, without God being behind you in that way, and you having that direct connection, and that is self-love, everything's going to be a struggle. Life is going to be a struggle. And you're just not going to know the truth of who you really are until you love yourself. That's why it's so important. And that's what I had to learn. I had to learn to love myself. And it's pretty just recent. Like you learn those lessons and you learn them over and over and you think you got it. But in these classes, the classes that I've been teaching lately, I'm like, oh, I knew that, but I didn't really know that. And so I'm learning that in a whole different way. The key that we're all looking for is self-love. If you don't love yourself, you're going to be looking for you're going to be looking for love in all the wrong places.
Yes. So what I just heard, if you're not living your purpose, being who you were purposed to be, that it's going to be hard. And when you are living your purpose, things become a little easier because you're doing what you were meant to do instead of fighting against yourself and struggling a little bit.
That's right.
So
a little bit easier.
I love that. And that it's a constant battle. Like I was saying before, you're constantly learning, you're constantly evolving, you do that inner work, you get, that mindset of I can become better every day. And part of that is loving yourself. If you don't love yourself, you're definitely not going to be able to progress forward. And if you are making some progress, it's going to be a smaller progress than you would actually be making if you were focused on loving yourself. I love it. So Karen, can you tell us again about why self-love is important to you?
Listen, absolutely. So, number one, thank you for having me. I think this is an absolutely fabulous forum, and the topic is so needed. Why? Because, self-love is what keeps you going, right? It's the gap between where you're trying to get to and where you've come from, right? Because all of the things in our past, we've experienced, let's say, regret or doubts or disappointment or shame, all of these negative things that will impact who you believe you are. And it is in really connecting with the power and the value of who you are, why you're here on this earth, why God has positioned you to work with and be the light for others. You cannot be on assignment if you are not understanding your value. And that is really what self-love is. It is accepting the value of who you are, who God created you to be, and why you're here on this planet to serve others. That's why it's important.
That's right.
I love it. I love it. And if you guys are noticing, this message is kind of the same. It's coming from different perspectives, but the message is still there and the message is the same. So we're going to keep it moving because these next questions coming up, it's a little thought-provoking, but it allows you to make impact by having those hard conversations, answering those harder questions. Okay, so the first question is, tell us a little bit about your journey with self-love and how it has shaped you. How has self-love shaped you over your journey? Chantel.
How has self-love shaped me? Well, that's the journey of life, right? Learning to love yourself. Most of us don't start there, right?
No.
So, so we're not loving ourselves. That love is missing, and we look out. Basically, we look to other relationships to fill that void that's missing in us, right? Because we come here to learn to love ourselves. We forgot when we were born, right? And then we look for outside relationships, and relationships come and go, come and go, come and go, until finally you're like, okay, what's up? Like I can remember the story of speaking to God. Is this it? Because there was so much chaos in my life. And not just in my life, but everyone around me, their lives were chaotic. And I said, I was in my early 20s. So we're talking some couple of decades ago. I'm aging myself. That's okay. Because I have that experience behind me now, right? So I'm just saying, like, is this it? And I got an answer back. They say, if you get an answer back, then you might want to go get yourself checked out. No, he answered back through experiences. And so as you said, how does love shape the journey? It teaches you what you need to do if you don't know that you are supposed to love yourself. So this journey of self-love has made me realize that I'm perfect with all of my imperfections. I think that's one of John Legend's songs. And once I realized I don't have to be perfect, once I realized that the love that I'm looking for is not outside of me, I could give it to myself. It's there already. Then I could start to become who I am supposed to be. And what I'm thinking about now is passing that message along to other people. Because especially as melanated people, the society that we live in, right? We're taught to hate ourselves, actually, basically. So we're taught to hate ourselves. Meanwhile, others love us and our culture and what we create. They take that from us. It's a whole mind trick, right? And it's not until you love yourself that you can reconnect with that and use that to your advantage. That's how this whole self-love journey has shaped me.
Yes, and one of the things you said stood out to me because it's one of my favorite phrases, and one of my favorite phrases is perfectly imperfect. Because I'm so perfect being imperfect, because those imperfections are what shapes you. So I love that. And Karen, so I know you talked a little bit about how self-love shaped you previously, but just give us a little bit of it.
That's fine. I'm going to say that I love in the chat, they put self-love is a journey, our journey to reconnecting to who we are and our purpose. So that is absolutely gold right there. And I'll say, the journey is we're going to say journey and process, because life happens and you respond, right? You pick the negative things. You know, they say that it takes at least 3 to 5 compliments or positive statements to negate or erase one negative statement. But yet and still, somehow we end up with the story that replays in our head of all of those negative things that have happened to us. And every time we replay the story, there is a piece of us that chips away that at our self-esteem, at our self-worth, our value, and ultimately us loving ourselves. And so the journey has been, for me at least, to understand and accept the awesomeness of who I am in the good and in the places where I need to improve, and where those things that occurred that have quote unquote damaged me, right? Understanding that those negative experiences wasn't necessarily there to hurt me, but was there for me so that I could grow into the person that I am and have become and will become. Because it is an ongoing journey. Like, we're always on this journey until the day we leave this planet. Not necessarily in a spaceship, but you know, outside of life and death, right? So the journey in self-love for me has been, how can I accept what quote unquote those flaws, right? The things that I may not excel in, and say, you know what, it's okay. There, and Chantel, you said it perfectly. We talked about perfection, right?
Right.
Perfection does not exist, first of all, at least not on a human level. And so if you accept the fact that you are not perfect, you are not meant to be fabulous in every area of your life, it's just not possible, because we are human. But what we can do is accept where we excel and where we know that there can be growth, and then work to grow those areas. That's, to me, the ultimate experience of self-love, is self-acceptance.
Yep. And self-acceptance plays a really big part. And what I heard from both of you guys is about outside influence in relationships, environments, circumstances, and how those outside influences play a really big part in our self-love. And I really believe that once you really accept who you are and your whole self, I always say the good, the bad, the ugly, like the whole thing, and you just lay it bare. Once you do that, those outside influences don't mean anything. No matter what anybody says, no matter what happens, it's like you're able to bounce back, you know. Because nothing else matters when you really, really and truly just love yourself. Like, I'm not saying that nothing will ever be bad. Like, you won't have those down moments, because down moments will always happen, but you'll bounce back quicker because you have infused that self-love. Like, it has become a lifestyle. Like, we want to make self-love a lifestyle. Like, people, like, lifestyle for people is like money, cars, clothes. I would say the other word, but I'm not gonna say it. So that's like lifestyle to people, but really mindset is the most important, and that lifestyle that's going to take you the furthest out of anything. Mindset is. And part of that mindset is that self-love. And if you make self-love your lifestyle, you're definitely going to be able to move quicker in the areas that you want, because self-love inhabits everything. And I feel like a lot of times, if we don't make being authentic and loving ourselves authentically our lifestyle, that everything will always affect you, no matter what it is. And it'll always hold you back because you're affected by everything, even things that are not meant for you. Right? Like, you think things are happening, like things come up in your mind that you think are happening that are not really happening.
Yeah.
And that starts to hold you back. Those mind gremlins, right? They're in there telling you that things are happening out here against you that are not really happening. So we really want to make self-love a part of your mindset and your lifestyles. We want to live that self-love lifestyle, right? So,
Yeah, you know, Kamisha, I want to add to that what you just said, because yes, but what also happens is when you're not loving yourself, you make poor choices, right? And so we think that things are happening to us, or that, like you just mentioned, but also we're causing damage to ourselves
Yep, you're
because we're
creating.
making these choices that from faulty information. And so that also is negatively impacting your life, but also the people you're called to serve.
Yes. Yep. You're creating some of those circumstances. So, if you're just tuning in, I want to say that we are introducing the speakers for the Melanated Self Love Summit. The panelists, speakers, coaches. This is part 3. If you haven't saw the other 2 parts, make sure you go back and see them, and make sure you continue to join us over these next few weeks as we talk about these topics and introduce the speakers and really dig into conversation on self-love, because it truly is the best love. We're going to be moving into the next question. So this next question is, what is any struggle to triumph that you want to share about self-love? Your struggle to triumph story, meaning you went from struggling with self-love to now being triumphant and embracing yourself and self-love. So what's your struggle to triumph story, Chantel?
You went there, huh?
Come on, dig a little deep, because we got to get the people what they need. We got to
That's
get
what I said, Chantel. Don't feel bad. I said the same thing. I was like, really? Just go ahead, jump right in. Why don't you?
But you know what, Kamisha, I'm there with you, right? Because it's our stories that inspire. It's our own stories that allow us to serve others. And actually, I'm really in the middle of that now. I finally got to a point where I realized my next what my current purpose, my assignment was. Coming from being a professional dancer and then deciding to this is the Melanated Moms Summit coming up here, so we're all dealing with some of those issues, transitioning from that career into being a full-time mother. So not having a career per se, and wanting to use being a mother as a way to transition into this work that I'm doing now, and that's helping and working with other women to realize their dreams. That has been, I must say, one of the most difficult things, because I was a professional dancer. You know, we identify with what it is that we do. And so when you choose to work, when you choose to make the home and your family your priority, that gets, I was about to say, a little tricky. That gets a whole hell of a lot tricky. Let's be real. So you really question who you are. You really question what did you do? So this journey from motherhood now into the work that I'm doing with women, that has been, repeat your question again, that has been the real challenge. And so I really had to dig deep and learn to love myself in this season right now that I'm in. And as I said, as I worked with the women, because you work with people that reflect you, you know, that's that mirror thing. Everyone that comes into your life really is a reflection of you. That's how you learn your lessons. And so that has been my challenge, learning that I'm worthy of my own self-love just because I am. Simply because I am this spirit in this physical body, and nothing else is required of me to love myself. It's not about what I do to prove myself. It's not about what I do for other people. It is that I am worthy of my own love simply because I am. And that's taken me a minute or two to get to. And that's what I'm here. That's the story and the message that I'm here to give to other people. Because once you do that, then the doors start to open up. The doors just start to open up. Things and situations around you shift and change in ways that you can't dream possible. And so that's been the journey for me. That's been it. I don't know if I answered the question.
Yeah.
But when you asked me the question, I was like, oh gosh, you just went straight for the heart there. But let me
honestly, it's just your struggle to your triumph. Like, everybody's struggle to triumph is different, and at different points in life as well. And you might have had quite a few, so it's just one that you would like to share. You could have struggled multiple times and had your triumphs, and I'm pretty sure we all have over the years and through our journey had different struggles, different triumphs, because I have quite a few stories.
That's right. There's more. There's always more than one.
Yeah, there's always more than one.
Yeah. So I must say that struggle through motherhood, that was a real struggle.
Oh no, don't believe me. I'm just starting it, and I started off that way, and I was like, wow, this is something different. It's definitely something different. So I can relate and I understand, because you really struggle with yourself once you become a mother and what you're doing. Sorry, my stand is playing with me right now. And what you're doing, and the reflections, like it's a part of your identity, and being able to have those separate identities, saying, I can be a mom, and I can be a woman, and I can be this leader, and I can be this other thing, and not just be, put in the box of being a mom. Like, I definitely understand that, because I think that we all kind of go through that struggle when you become a mom, in creating that separate identity, like always knowing that you're a mom, but you don't have to just be a mom. And especially, like you said, you were transitioning back in. So definitely, sorry, you guys, gotta fix the stand. It's playing games. I don't know what's going on. Okay, all right. And Karen, do you have a struggle to triumph you would like to share with everybody?
Sure. I think that, well, for me, there's, as you said, there's always more than one. I think that you nail one thing down, and then you get to see and find out what's the next thing you get to address. And so one could have been relationships, right? So in my past, in relationships and love, so to speak, I didn't value myself. I didn't value who I was being in the relationship. And I took the fact that, let's say, like that my husband cheated, I took that on as a indicator of what my value was, rather than the environment and the situation. And when I look back, it was the journey of saying, no, they don't get to have a pass for their behavior, right? And I also don't get to continue to allow myself to take on the burden of the negativity and the responsibility, quote unquote, of having that marriage fail. And so allowing myself to really see the truth, because again, we have these stories playing in our head, to see the truth of the matter in terms of not focusing on the do of anything, right? Mm-hmm. When you tie your value to what you do, if you don't do it correctly, if someone doesn't like what the outcome was, if they question it, that attacks who you are or who you feel you are. But when you really, and for me, when I really began to understand the value that I bring to the table, the value that I bring in relationships and connections, and as an entrepreneur and as a family member, right? Not because of all the things that I do, but just because of who I am, that is a reflection of the God in me, right? Because God is the great I am. And he created us, and he instilled in us our values, our gifts. And so just merely because we are here, because we are, our value is there. We have gifts, we have abilities, we have talents. And so not allowing the do and being the who of who I am is how I have begun to transition out. And, so you nail down that area in terms of, let's say, relationships, or love relationships. And as an entrepreneur, and I know many people out there deal with imposter syndrome, right? Oh, well, am I really going to be able to bring this value? But guess what? Take a look at everything that you've accomplished, all of the things that you've been able to do, the people that you've been able to help. Again, not because of only what you do, but because of who you are, because of how you bring it. That brings in, again, that whole journey of self-love and value. And that's, for me, is the journey, right? nail that down, recognize your value, and then you get to uncover the next area where you can work to shine.
Yes, I totally agree. Karen kind of said a mouthful. She had a bunch of points in there. Like I try to keep up with the points, but she had said a lot of good points. But definitely, I really resonated with not um, compartmentalizing is what I would call it, being what you do and being who you are instead of what you do. That's very important because, like she said, if you are focused on being what you do, every time something goes wrong, you're going to beat yourself up.
Mm-hmm.
So, focusing on who you are and what you bring is way more important because, as much as you would like to think that what you're doing is the best or the best or wrong, other people are going to need and come to what you have to offer. Like a lot of times we beat ourselves up thinking that something is wrong with what we do when we're the only ones who think that. And a lot of times it holds you back and it stops you from moving forward and doing the things that you really want to do when you focus on the negative and what's wrong. So I always say focus on the positive and what's right, what went right, not what went wrong.
Yeah, Karen, I love that you brought that up, Karen.
No.
The imposter syndrome, right? Because that really, I mean, that just brings it home. If you don't love yourself, you're not connected to yourself, and you're always trying to be something else. Like it's in the, you're focused on the doing. What can I do? Whereas if you love yourself, that's you. You're not trying to be someone else. It goes back to that saying, you know, I love myself, imperfections and all. There's no such thing as imperfections because you are just who you are. So you're not trying to like put up the, you know, the mask that we put on for everyone. Self-love brings authenticity so that wherever you go, you show up as you are and you're not afraid because you know whoever you are and however you show up in that moment, which is different in different moments, you know it's authentic and it's going to give to whoever is around you. So I love, Karen, that you brought up that whole thing with imposter syndrome that we all struggle with at times. If you connect into that self-love, that begins to fade away because you begin to know who you truly are. You begin to get in touch with that God source within you. And there's just no stopping when you're connected to that. All of that outside, worried about how people look at you, because I do that a lot. I
But see,
completely
that's true, right? Authenticity, right? As you were talking and before you said the word, I was like, yes, being authentic and being okay with it. See,
agree.
authenticity comes from really digging down and admitting the truth to yourself,
Yeah,
right? For some reason, people, we get nervous about admitting the truth, even to ourselves, because we feel as if it's going to take something away from this persona that we've created in our minds and or in the minds of others. But being authentic really means, taking a look at how you truly feel. What is it that you truly want? Where is it that you truly want to go? Who do you truly want to serve? What impact are you creating? All of these truths, like really just like lay it all on the line. You don't have to tell anybody, pen and paper and computer. It can be your friend, right? And then be okay with that
right.
because you have to be okay with it. You have to accept it. And that is the genesis of self-love. So absolutely, Chantel.
Love it. Love it. Love it. So as we're moving into the final question, I just wanted to say that we are here introducing the speakers for the Melanated Self Love Summit, and we're having a great talk on self-love being the best love, and talking a little bit about journeys with self-love from the beginning, the middle, and continuing into the future. Um, We've had some really great information. So if you have missed any, I would go back and watch the video. I would go back and watch the video and also tune into the first two videos from the series and join us later in the series as we continue to talk about this so needed topic. So as we're moving into the final question, I have told every lady before you, Chantel, and I'm going to tell you too. What I want you to do is look into the camera and tell that woman who's struggling with self-love one thing. What is one thing you would tell that woman struggling with self-love?
You are a divine feminine being that was put here You are spirit in this body. All you need to do is to connect to that divine, godly power that is within you. It is in you. Connect to it. And everything before you, that golden road appears before you. You just have to find and realize who you truly are. It's all there. It's all there. That's what I would tell that person.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Find who you truly are. Find who you truly are. It's coming from Chantel. She just gave you a whole word. Find who you truly are.
And I'm gonna give you the answer. You are divine. I'm not gonna make you go search for it. Because I'm gonna give you the answer. You're divine, and then it's a whole journey to believe that. So I'm gonna give you the answer to make it a little bit easier. I'm not gonna have you here for another 5-10 years trying to figure it out, right? Like some of us have done that already. And for those of us that haven't, that are here, you are divine. The God, you are made in the image of God. That's the answer. Now believe it. Build that faith, build that trust, and the experiences that allow you to know who you are.
All right. So find those experiences to let you know who you are. So Karen, for the last question, it's the same thing. What is one thing you would say to that woman out there who is struggling with self-love?
So last segment, I said, give yourself grace. And I will always say, give yourself grace, because you don't need to get it, quote unquote, right or perfect 100% of the time. Allow yourself to enjoy the journey, right? Grace says, okay, I may have messed up, or maybe I don't understand, or I don't have the answer. Grace says, no worries, it's okay, it will come, right? But part 2 to that is never give up. When you give up, you are 100% sure to fail. You are 100% sure to never get there. So yes, give yourself grace, but never give up. Don't stop. Keep looking, keep learning, keep developing. Just keep at it. You will find your niche, that seat that feels 100% comfortable to you. You will never find it if you stop. So don't stop. You can do it. You have it already within you. Chantel said that. I'm saying give yourself grace as you find it and you develop it, and don't stop until you do.
Don't stop, won't stop.
That's right.
All right, all right. So I want to thank you, ladies, for joining us, and it has been a pleasure. We are continuing on this journey of exuding self-love and embracing self-love and being authentic and embracing who we are, and helping the other women around us to just pull them in and help them embrace who they are too, so that self-love can be imminent all the time, and be able to go out there and give the world their gifts without worries, without doubts, and without fear. To just go out there, walk in their purpose, and be exactly who they were meant to be, right? So I'd like to thank you, ladies, for joining, and I will see you guys soon. And say bye-bye.
Bye. You got this. Thanks, Kamisha.
That's right. You got it. Thank you so much, Kamisha. See you, Karen.
Bye, Chantel. I'm loving that hair, girl. Just saying.